Stormwood and Associates is a production of the Nerd and Tie Podcast Network. For more podcasts from actual play to true crime to witchcraft, go to nerdandtie.com or join our community on Discord by finding an invite at nerdandtie.com/discord. In pursuit of a stolen magical object, Stormwood and Associates Field Team 623 stepped into a tear between realities and vanished. They found themselves trapped in another plane, facing a reality that was not their own, and driven to avoid dark forces they don't understand. And so, Team 623 finds themselves leaping from world to world, striving to put right what they find wrong, and hoping each time that their next jump will be the jump home. Stormwood and Associates stars Celeste Star Twin as Dee, Gen Proc as Obie, Trey Dorn as Amy, and Becca Johnson as Liz Stormwood. Previously on Stormwood and Associates. So, alien future colony world colonized by people from Earth, though. This is the planet that the Meat Grinder Season 3 was going towards and successfully got there, and that's fine. The Bellerophon, the ship from that season, is sitting at the middle of Bellerophon City, the capital of this colony world. And, yeah, so the team ended up at a medieval-themed theme park run by Fiona, of all people, and yeah, they were there, they were checking it out, and suddenly there was an explosion in the middle of the city. The big Bellerophon spaceship, an explosion happened, and then a second explosion happened. So right now the team is at the theme park, because that's the evacuation point. So where else are they going to go? And Obie has suggested, since the theme park is open, that they go see the Queen, and everyone's pretty certain that whoever the Queen is, it's gonna be Fiona. It's Fiona. Still.
Oh man, if it's Fiona, then it might be, like if we're, because I was gonna say if we're gonna see royalty, I'm gonna throw something at them, but I won't do it if it's Fiona, because sometimes I'm nice.
Well, and also Fiona has access to unknown powers that, I mean, because we've, like, Mindy's super powerful, right?
Yes, she is very powerful.
Right, and we have to assume that, like, because Mindy compared, like, Fiona to being at her level, that Fiona is also super powerful. So I think that pelting her with stuff is probably a bad move.
Yeah, she literally believes herself to be a god.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
Mindy isn't like that. She seems to think the whole thing is kind of cringe. Fiona believes herself to be a god. She still does.
Lots of people think they're gods. One time I was on some
but
really,
she has the power
really good shrooms, and I
up.
thought it was a god.
She has the power to back it up. How do we know if she wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, she's not going to erase our memories or send us sliding through time? Who knows?
I mean, we're already.
Also, she's giving us a free hotel room, so I feel like pelting her with stuff would just be in bad taste, even if she wasn't a god.
Pelt.
That too.
I'm not. Look, you're all good reasons. But normally, I just, I don't get an opportunity to pelt royalty with stuff. Are you honestly telling me that if we ran into, like, a real-life king or queen, you wouldn't want me to throw something at them?
Depends on the situation. And the particular monarchy. Any of the ones from our world? Okay, so the British. You can just, any version of the British, I'm fine with you throwing things at. But I feel like that particular title gets used by like other forms of like royalty and governments where like it might be in bad taste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They need to be taken down a peg.
What I'm saying is that we need to define the kind of monarchy it is before, because like look at like Padme in Star Wars Episode 1 where she was elected queen and they have terms. And like, yes, it's weird to elect a child to government, but it is still a democratic society. I think
That's
that
a weird planet.
Yeah, well, right. I think that says more about the Naboo populace than it does their particular system of government or the queen herself in that situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I'm
that's
just
more
fixated
speaking
on how
something
weird that
inherently
planet
weird
is.
about the people.
Not to get meta, but we really get philosophical on this thing, don't we? for an action adventure story, we got a lot of philosophy on here.
I feel like in many ways our lives have more developed into the emotional relationships between other people than the particular action of the adventure we're on.
Well, especially when, like, in this particular case, we're not allowed to do the adventure. Like, I'd love to go explore
Okay,
the
we're talking about us
museum
now and
ship, but
not your Star Wars. Okay.
Well, it's Obie, this is my thought. Just because that's not our adventure doesn't mean there isn't an adventure for us here.
you're right. We gotta go see the jousting.
If you think about it, if we were at home and there was a massive explosion, while we might try to help people, we wouldn't be the ones going in. We are the ones who take care of the stuff that authorities don't notice.
So we gotta scope out the grounds and find things that they don't notice.
Exactly. And maybe see the queen and see what's up with that.
Okay.
All right, fine. Let's see how it goes.
Do they got maps of this place?
Yeah, there. You saw one earlier. There's like a big you don't have like a portable like personal map. It looks like people are using like screens on their devices for that. But there are like you are here maps around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obie's gonna go and scout out the map and see if there's like, here's where the queen is. But he's definitely looking for where the jousting is.
Yeah. No. The jousting yards. The jousting is so it's obviously this is to remind you this is laid out kind of like a medieval or Renaissance, like it's again a hodgepodge of no particular specific period. It's like a movie idea of a fantasy world, right? So there are things from various time periods, really. So before any historians, go like that's not medieval, I'm like, I know it's not. That's the point.
Also, it's a Ren
city.
fair.
Yeah. Well, it's like a Ren fair, but it's also like this is like walking into this place is very immersive. It's like if Disney made a Ren fair.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. So, and I think I said there were rides earlier, but I don't remember what they were. But yeah, no, there's a jousting yard, like a jousting arena. Off to in one direction there is obviously there is the castle, which does have posted hours in which you can see the queen. What was that reaction?
That was Obie's excitement at seeing that there's there's a castle and you could go see the queen.
Yeah,
because they were just talking about seeing the queen.
Yes, there is a castle where you can go see the queen.
Guys, we could go meet the queen.
She's presumably, unless it's Fiona, she's probably not an actual queen. Just someone who works here.
I know what theme parks are.
You don't get excited when you get to see Mickey Mouse, Liz?
I'm sorry. I thought the point was to be on the lookout for, the things they can't see.
Yeah.
And who would know better about the things we can't see than the queen?
Not the real queen.
Also,
That's
there's
my
this
point.
beautiful thing called multitasking.
Liz, do you have any
Okay.
other ideas?
They're blunt, but they got a point.
I suppose not. I guess you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and
Why
like
not the queen?
I'm open to suggestions. Like I want to be clear, I'm not trying to shut you down, but I don't have Obie wants to go see the queen. I don't have a better idea.
I also want to go see the jousting and maybe a few of the rides.
Yes, I'm sure the rides will have a lot of clues.
Wait, the ride's gonna have clues?
No, the rides are not going to have clues, Dee. Let's just go and meet the queen.
All right.
Too late. Already have the right clues idea in my head.
All right, you guys head into the park. The castle, of course, is near the center. Well, the center, like, so it's weird because remember this place is like divided in half. Like they haven't built half of it yet, and they were keeping up the illusion that it was there with like a hologram, and that's turned off. So as you walk deeper into the park, it's like this massively immersive city that like is perfect, and like the stone streets, and then every time you look to, like every once in a while you look to the left, and you just see a refugee camp in a field. Because what else are they gonna? It's. And so yeah, it's the castle sits. So the castle's complete, and it's at the center. And so half of the castle just has like grass around it, and the other half has kind of this like, and it kind of like it isn't like just a sudden like cut, and it's like perfect city grass. It's like kind of a gradient in the stones of the paving out there, and so like. As you get closer to the castle, the central infrastructure for the park is more and more built in the towards the center. It's just more like the roads have been installed here and the plumbing and all of that, but they haven't built the buildings yet for the other half of the town. And actually, as you get closer to the castle on that side, you see like kind of the more command tents because they have all of this like power, electricity, plumbing set up for buildings that aren't there yet. The refugee camp is kind of taking advantage of that infrastructure. And this entire, like all this infrastructure stuff at the park may be the reason why they're using this as an evacuation point. As you approach the castle, it's this large castle. There's a large portcullis and crenellations. This is very like Victorian fantasy of medieval castle. But I don't know, how much do your characters know about like architecture or like castles and history?
Dee watched the movie Excalibur when she was too young to watch it.
Okay.
Yes.
I rolled an 8, so I'm gonna say that Obie's a bit of a nerd.
Okay.
Liz probably had like a phase of that, yeah.
Okay, so the only thing that I'm going to point out, because you don't expect this to be historically accurate to anything, right? It's just that at the center of the castle, like the center, like there's like a central spire that looks like it's made out of like blue crystal. Like it's not really like it. I mean, it looks cool. It looks really cool. Like it's just like doesn't really quite feel medievalish.
Well, that's neat.
Which part?
The big blue crystal sticking out of it.
Is that not supposed to be there?
No, that's not usually on castles.
No, that's not a normal thing.
I'd like to detect spooky.
It might feel a little spooky. It's not like it feels like maybe magic was used to build it, but it still feels like it's an architectural element. Like it's not a device or Like it feels like something that was made using magic, but is not like inherently doing anything more than any other wall or ceiling.
Okay. Does it remind me of anything else?
Well, let me think. Roll me a d10.
9.
Okay. I'm going to say this.
Okay.
When you were in the wilds, so long ago, and you were in, like, that pawn shop where you got your translation crystals, there was a snow globe. And in that snow globe was a very similar looking building.
Oh. Okay. I feel like I've seen that before.
Huh?
Seen what?
Yeah. What?
Seen what? What part?
Well,
You've seen a
I mean,
castle before?
I mean,
It's a pretty
guess the
distinct castle with the
I
big blue
guess-
crystal sticking out of it.
I guess the castle. I mean the castle, yes, but specifically the crystal, but also the castle.
Yeah, it looks like the same castle.
Yeah, but I remember
Yeah,
mostly
right.
the
Yeah.
crystal.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, so back when we were in the wilds, our first alternate world,
Uh-huh.
there was a snow globe with this in it.
Oh.
What the shit? Okay. Okay.
I mean, Fiona's from the wilds.
Yeah,
She was, her people used to rule the wilds.
yes, they did.
She is co-owner of a theme park. that
Yes,
was
she
building a
rules this
castle.
world.
So
She
That's
rules
kinda
over this medieval world.
Feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
Does Obie know that she called herself like the queen of the winter court?
you would
It was mentioned.
It was mentioned.
Okay.
Maybe this is her winter court.
Yeah, it's possible.
Do you want to go inside?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Different call to adventure. Let's do it.
It's literally open.
Too
So-
late assigning meaning to the meaninglessness of my life.
Yeah, Obie's trotting right in.
All right, you enter the grand hall of this building. The architecture is high ceilings, large open space. There are a number of there are guards who are dressed in far more regal looking attire than the quote unquote town guard character actors who are walking around out by like the market. And you end up walking into there is a queue line for getting your photo taken with the queen.
Yes.
And
Obie is in the line. He's at the back of the line, hopping from one foot to the other.
there's not a ton of people in this line right now. It's a lot of people are more concerned with stuff going on than like going to see the queen. So you there are like a couple of people in front of you, but this is not the hot spot to be at right now. Like as you guys walked by, like the restaurants were hopping and like people were, walking around out there. Like, not a lot of people are going to do necessarily a lot of the touristy things while they're here. They were just, eating places because the food places were open, and they had food.
Right.
So as you walk in, you turn the corner and you are in a throne room. there is a throne that looks as though it is constructed of dark blue ice and gold. In it sits Fiona, dressed in a deep blue dress with a dramatically high collar. It is silk, it is regal, it's a fucking pretty dress. Her crown appears to be made out of ice crystals and or crystals designed to look like ice, and sits high, and she looks every bit the queen. There are guards who stand by her sides, and there is a 18-year-old in an ill-fitting costume going, all right, so I need to scan your wristband for credits, and you'll have about a minute photo opportunity with the queen.
I'm gonna hang back.
Obie sticks his wrist out.
Yep. Scans thing.
Dee also sticks her wrist out.
Amy will hang back with Liz.
And Obie will run up and kneel before the throne.
Yeah.
Your Highness.
Amy just looks at Liz and says, I want that dress, though. So, yeah.
It's a very pretty dress. It would look great on you.
Right? And, yeah, so Fiona looks down at Obie. Rise, Sir Obie of Chicago.
Obie stands up, hands on his hips, big grin on his face.
You know, you just saw me like an hour, like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, but now you're a queen and it's cool.
He wanted to meet the queen.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Absolutely shocking. When we found out it was you. It's a pretty good gig you got.
I had the hat already. She's just like gestured, like nods towards the fact that there's like this 18-year-old kid in the room. It's like kind of trying to give you that face of like, eh. A little hover photo thing pops out of the ground, like a small drone that's a camera pops out. Hello. Would you like, when you are ready to have your finger I'm going to take that second take. Everybody, we're recording this on a Monday night. I work today. We're all wiped, but we got to get this done. Christmas is playing hell in the schedules. We're going to pretend we're going to do a second take, but you're going to hear the old take because that's the reality of playing a game with me right now. Hello. When you are ready to have your photo taken, please say cheese. Dee and Obie, you are standing there by...
Obie is gonna like...
Limburger.
Yeah. Obie's gonna put up like double peace signs, big grin, leaning, like getting way in with the queen, with Fiona.
Cheese.
You hear a little shutter noise. Thank you. Your photos will be printed by the door. The drone disappears back into the floor.
And while he's next to her, he's gonna like whisper to Fiona, "Is this what your winter court look like?"
Just one second. No. Chester? The kid turns around. Yeah? Is there anybody left in line after these people? No. Not right now. Chester, could you close the line temporarily and give me 15? Okay. And the kid trots off, and you were just alone in this giant throne room with Fiona and some, like, guards. Well, Obie, This is my winter court in exile. I want to point out, she only sent like, there are, like, regal-looking guards in the room. She only sent the teenager out of the room.
So Obie's assuming that they're part of her court. Are they part of your court too?
I mean, they're my guards. They kind of just, like, both nod. They're not all of. They're Fae, like I am.
Is this normal to have this many Fae in a population this size?
No.
Did you,
There was.
Fiona? Did you? Okay, go ahead.
Well, no. What's your question?
Did you gather a bunch of Fae together to get on a spaceship so you could establish your own little kingdom?
I mean, did I get a bunch of did I get all of the members of the Winter Court and of my people I could find and gather them onto a spaceship that was bound for the stars and less likely to be found by in a universe where they've colonized a lot of different planets, and that I could build myself a new court without having to conquer anything or take over anything, or I could just build it myself and also provide employment for people. And, yes, I did.
Okay.
There were about 500 of us on the Bellerophon.
You were on the Bellerophon?
That's how most of the people on this, like, not all of them, but a good chunk of the people on this planet's ancestors came over a couple hundred years ago on that.
Huh.
Yep.
Okay.
We have more than the original 500. We had, like, some have come on later ships, but yeah.
So do you know why it's blowing up now?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a surprise to you, but I know a lot about a lot of things. I know a lot about governing. I know a lot about politics, negotiations, foreign policy, and I know a lot about how to make a really damn good margarita. But I don't know how spaceships work. Like, I know how they work in the sense that, like, there's a big engine that goes and we get in the thing, but, like, I could not build you a spaceship or tell you why a 240-year-old spaceship or whatever blew up.
Okay, but better question. Do you know who would want to blow it up?
Yeah,
Just throwing that out
no,
there.
it's old.
Maybe they want to, like, redevelop the land it's on?
I don't know. There's so much land on this planet. It's a big planet that had no sentient races on it. So, like, everywhere was up for grabs. There's no like logical reason to want any piece of land on this world when you can just go get a different one that's just as good. Like, in another, like, couple hundred years, maybe, like, the resources will be more allocated in a way that, like, matters. But right now, it is a frontier that you don't have to kick anyone off of.
Wild.
Which is why I finally, after thousands of years, I mean, because you got to think, we left the wilds, like, over 10,000 years ago. That's why I waited till now to build a new winter court. A place, and the wonderful thing is that because we're all here, we can communicate to anyone else in the Winter Court instantly. In every world. It becomes a network, a hub. And we do a little pageantry. I mean, yes, I am the queen of the Winter Court, and yes, these men here are acting as my guards, but I mean, Bill, have you had to like do any sort of actual guarding of me in the like 200 years you've been here? No, not really. No. Eat get a nice turkey leg at lunch. Yeah, no. It's Mark, how about you? Nah, I'm good. Yeah, no. We put on a show. I'm a mascot and a bartender. But it's nice to if I'm gonna be a mascot and a bartender, it's at least I'm gonna do it in a place that feels like home.
I get that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Took forever to get the crystal right.
That one tracks.
Damn it. So that's why you saw it in the snow globe on the Feywilds.
Obie says to Liz.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, yeah, it's still standing. It's just occupied. It's the Grand Hall of Goblin Affairs.
Grand Hall of Goblin Affairs.
Yeah, it kind of sucks when someone takes your house and turns it into a bureaucracy. Like, if they turned it into, like, I feel like I wouldn't be offended if people were living in it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Like, if you get kicked out of your house, but someone keeps it as a house, it's like, okay, well, at least it's somebody's house, or, like, many people's house, whatever. I mean, but to turn it into, like, it's a beer, and it's mostly storage.
That's just a waste.
They keep files there.
Oh, I hate this. I hate this. Okay. I'll be okay.
Like, oh. I'm just saying, like, people complain about monarchy, and that is fine. You know, it's, if you don't have a voice in your government, I understand. But when the thing that replaces it is worse, what was the point? Like, we were a world ruled by 4 courts. 4 equal courts. The spring, the summer, the autumn, and the winter courts, each with equal power. And the Fae and the people in those lands could petition and, like, look, I get it. Like, it's just side-eyeing D. Like, I get that it's not your ideal form of government. But the people were free. We had free speech. Anyone could, we might not do what the people asked us to do, but we wouldn't punish people for having, you know, for disagreeing with us or having an idea that we didn't like. Like, I'm not saying that we were perfect, but I'm saying that a single dictator whose personal whims set the policy for an entire world, like, that's worse, right?
Yeah, you should get rid of the dictator. It would just get rid of the other thing too, you know. Yeah, both can get thrown out.
Honestly, I don't really care if I'm in charge or not anymore. I just want to not have to hide anymore. I want to be able to, I am right now standing in a bar in the Feywilds, hundreds of miles away from my old home. I am in a bar, and I am perfectly fine being a bartender. You know, Core is at my side. People ask me for advice, ask me for help every day, which, by
Hey.
the way, that's the fun part of this job.
There have been other monarchs with weirder hobbies.
Well, no, but, like, I don't need to be like the government. I want to serve my people. So, like, if you're saying that, like, I'm not... So when I talk about how Galfus needs, like, we need to find a way, like, Galfus needs to be overthrown or something like that. If I say something like that, I'm not saying he needs to be replaced by me, but at least then I wouldn't have to hide from a wizard who wants to rip out my heart and eat it. You know?
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
My bigger concern is that there is a dark wizard who wants to rip out my heart and eat it. Califrax was actually pretty great. There was this guy, Califrax. He overthrew Galfus. And for like 100 years, this guy ruled. And like, okay, let me tell you, Califrax, kind of a mess. But like, so like in the war, Califrax is a necromancer. He brought back all the guys who died for him and gave them jobs and gave them homes. And it was a little gross to look at, but they were there. Like, he roped off the Forbidden Lands and told people not to go there anymore. There's this whole area of the wilds called the Forbidden Lands, and there's like the first bar I built. I built the original Quick Smoke. The reason why I call my bar it's named after, it's a stupid joke about time, but I actually set one up while I was still queen as a hobby in secret, and my original one is in the Forbidden Lands, and like the whole town it was in got swallowed up by this like monstrosity in like, oh, it was terrible. But anyways, but people were just like wandering in there all the time and like dying constantly, and Califrax said, no, these lands are forbidden, don't go there, there's zombie chickens, that's a bad idea. Don't go there. And like all of these reforms. And then and Galfus just like did this like long weird play and like took over the like like Califrax, like, okay, so I will say an irritating thing that Califrax did is he ignited a third sun, and so there was hardly any night. It was pretty much endless daytime. In the wilds, either two suns were up or one sun was up. It was kind of a pain in the ass. But at least, like, people weren't oppressed. That's why their whole, like, thing is, like, save you from the oppression of the light, like, all that bullshit. It's because of Califrax's... Yeah. Califrax had weird ideas, but he was better than Galfus. But then Galfus took back over. It's this is what I want. What we have here, I work. Like, I'm playing Queen. I put on a dress, I like wearing my dress. I like wearing this dress. This is a recreation of the dress I got married in. I love this dress.
You got married in it?
In the original, yeah.
Ah, that's so pretty.
Thank you. Yes, Cora and I got married about 30,000 years ago. It was political, but over time I've come to care for him deeply. Core's originally of the Autumn Court.
Uh-huh.
It was a political where, yeah.
Okay, well, we obviously we don't want to keep you.
I'm sorry. I know I'm info dumping on you and all of this. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on with the spaceship in the city. Right now, I'm just keeping everything running because what the hell else am I gonna do? I've got to keep the power on and for the camp. So, what am I gonna do? Send my workers can't go home. I've told them they can take the rest of the day off, but the people, I mean, honestly, a good chunk of the people working here are Fae, so we don't really have it. A lot of us live here in the park, and so where else are we gonna go? What else are we gonna do? We're gonna keep the place running because we've got food production, we've got infrastructure, bathrooms. This entire park is separate from the grid of the actual city. So if the city grid goes down, the park can stay running and open for a good 5 years.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, we're only here for the week, so.
Yeah. I swear if this planet blows up, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Wait, is there a chance that that's gonna happen?
Well, I mean, it's the drive that powered the Bellerophon was it was like a 10-year mission to a 10-year voyage to get here, but it still went faster than light.
Wait, they left the drive intact?
Where are you gonna put it?
Dismantle it. Use it for parts.
I mean, most of it was, but the energy core can't be removed.
That seems like a bad design.
So wait, there might be some hyperdrive core that's just here ready to explode at any given second.
I hope not. I mean,
This is encouraging.
you can't take the drive out of the ship. That's why they just turned the ship into a museum.
But now the ship's starting to blow up.
Yeah, that's not great. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, especially because reports say that the museum was closed today. So hopefully there's nobody in it.
Yeah, and hopefully look, when the initial explosion happened, they would have evacuated the center of the town.
Mm-hmm.
And the reports I'm seeing are listing injuries but not fatalities. When the second explosion happened, they had evacuated at least a 2-block radius around the actual museum. That's protocol. And there are shields to prevent debris from going further. I think the concern is if there's I don't know if a chain reaction or something. If emergency protocols look, they do drills every year, and the emergency protocols say that they should have people in there shutting it down to keep it, but yeah, no, there's something about the planet blowing up if it's not done correctly.
Wow. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay. This is.
Hey, Obie, I think we found the adventure.
Yeah, call to adventure. I'm just wondering what we can do about it.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to learn some science stuff, but I don't know if I know spaceships.
Plus, I don't know if they're gonna let us near it.
I mean, look, right now, things haven't gone as far. Right now, the news reports we're getting is that the emergency crews are in the ship doing the job of shutting it down. Right? They're telling us that emergency crews are at work, and I can't.
Didn't the ship explode twice already, though?
Yeah, but the bottom half of it's still there. It was a little explosion at the top, and then like a big explosion in the middle. The bottom half of the ship, where the actual star drive is, still intact. Whatever happened, like, look, I remember. Okay, so we all had to do training when we took the voyage, right? We all had to do maintenance training. Let me think. Because there was always a chance you were going to be woken up to take an emergency shift, because the ship always had like 3 people, I think, awake for like maintenance. And people took shifts because it was like a 10-year voyage, but we spent the time in like stasis. So, but like, you know, so like 3 people would take like a 3-month shift, and then like it would go. But there were like 10,000 of us on the ship. So like I didn't take a shift, but I was trained in case of emergency. Like I was a backup of a backup of a backup. And the upper levels were like command. Like that's where, if you were awake, where like your living quarters were, and like the actual like control of the ship. And then there were a couple of auxiliary control rooms located lower in the ship in case something bad happened. Like if the ship hit an asteroid and the cockpit was damaged, but the rest of the ship was intact, you could still steer the ship from one of the auxiliary control rooms, A and B. And then the actual reactor was way down at the bottom, near the star drive, right? So the actual reactor, like, so if you see where the explosions are, and like, so she like she pulls a device, like a phone-sized device, out of a pocket in her dress, and she goes, so and she like starts pulling up, like, okay, here's, and she like shows like a live feed of like the smoking ship from downtown. So if you see like the explosion, the second explosion happened about like a good 15 decks above where the reactor core is. The reactor core's down there at the bottom. The first explosion was up by like the old, where the bridge was, which is also like the bridge / observation deck for tourists, up at the top. And then the second explosion was in the core, and this was primarily a part of the ship that was just effectively where stasis pods were. I don't know what could have been there to explode. Like that entire part of the ship was just decks and decks of stasis pods. Like they don't even like keep that open for tourists because there's literally nothing there to look at. I mean, look, it's...
I don't know. I think if I could get in there, I could probably find something.
I don't know. We're only really in trouble if there is... like, if something happens in the lower levels near the star drive. Right? It's only really a problem if something happens down there. Everything else is like, it's a problem for us in like a city. Of like, there are fumes from the fire that like would be bad to inhale, you know, there, you know, it's, there's literally a fire, you know, wreckage. So as long as the star drive portion of the ship remains intact, and you're hearing like this woman in a throne room dressed as a queen talking about the star drive of a spaceship. I just want to, this is the most Star Wars moment we've ever had. So yeah, as long as nothing happens down there, it's fine. Everybody roll me a d10.
Oh, God.
It's not fun.
10.
3.
10.
As you guys are looking at the feed, the two of you who rolled a 10, like, you see something is sparking at the base of the ship. Like there's this weird electrical flashing in the, like, you can see it on the feed at the base of the ship.
Oh.
I mean,
Okay.
it kind of sucks that you guys are here because, like, if I die, I mean, it'll suck for me, but I'm fine.
Fiona,
Yeah?
There's something happening at the base of the ship.
She looks at the phone. Oh shit. And as she looks at it, the base of the ship, like a blue ball starts to form around it. It's like slowly expanding and fire like a slow motion explosion around the base of the ship. Come find me in a few minutes. And she just, as you watch, the phone screen flashes, an explosion, this huge rippling explosion. You hear this roar coming, and suddenly you are sitting in the truck driving towards a medieval fair. The truck is heading towards a marketplace. D, are you going to hit the brakes?
Oh crap. Yes.
Stormwood and Associates is a production of Nerd and Tie. You can find more information at nerdandtie.com/Stormwood. You can also find us on social media at Nerd and Tie on Twitter, nerdandtie.tumblr.com, and facebook.com/Nerd and Tie. This podcast can be subscribed to on anywhere that major podcasts are found: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, and quite a few other places, and anywhere that takes an RSS feed as well. Hey, while you're still here, let me tell you about another podcast on the Nerd and Tie Network, and that's Let's Be Legendary. Let's Be Legendary, the Fey Wild West, is a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons actual play game. So, an actual play game like this one, but like, you know, in a system people actually use in the real world. Set in a homebrew Wild West steampunk world, the Fey Wild West follows two people discovering what it means to be in a relationship, all the while seeking revenge and learning the truth of their pasts. Let's Be Legendary podcast is an LGBTQ+ podcast with both main and minor characters, as well as players falling under the queer blanket. A heavy RP game with a focus on story and characters. And you can hear it every week here on the Nerd and Tie Network, and you can find all of their subscription information and links at nerdandtie.com/legendary.